Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast with Mike Trainer, Jay Jules, and John Depot. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. I am Mike. That is Jules. John is not with us, man. I think he's on a sabbatical. I think he went to go do some ayahuasca in the woods to reflect on the Giants season and to figure out what went wrong. So he's gone for that, for this, at least this week, maybe next week. Who knows? What a weekend again, another loss. Let me tell you, Jules, it was like the Giants game was one thing. I actually liked the Giant game for a whole different reason, because I bet once I found out that we had no wide receivers, I flew up to Connecticut, right? I put a major bet in. Let's just say my transmission went in my Jeep. Let's just say I could buy a brand new transmission with this money I won on the Bears. Just betting the Bears on the money line with the points, everything all across the board. First quarter, second quarter, half, like everything. I took it all, man.
Really?
It was the easiest bet all week. I know I said the Giants were going to cover last week, but once I found out more injuries started to happen and Galladay was going to be our only wide receiver, I'm like, well, they're going to double him on the top. They'll take him out of the game, and they're going to try stress and running the ball. I knew they're going to try to run, and I'm like, we can't run the ball. So I'm like, this is easy fucking money. So if you Herbs out there didn't fucking bet on the Bears, I know, like, I hate betting against my team, but fuck it, man. It's about money. I need a fucking new transmission. But the best part, besides that, of the whole Sunday was Antonio Clown fucking running out, taking his jersey off, throwing into the crowd. I'm sure everybody's seen that video, but I'm sure a lot of Giant fans would love to do that in MetLife this year. Just fucking take this shit off and ran the fuck out of that joy. But man, what a great show Antonio Clown is, man. He's the best. I gotta love that. I love that fucking guy.
I mean, listen, love him, hate him, get him mental help. I don't know what to say about him. I mean, obviously he doesn't need the money, so he don't really give a shit. And like even if you hear what he says as his excuse is that like his ankle or whatever was bothering him and nagging him was still kind of bothering him, and Aranis was trying to put him in. I've never heard of that being an issue with your coach. Like, if anything, you run to like one of the assistants or the wide receiver coach or a medical trainer and say, look, my ankle is bothering me. I can't really play, and I'm not going to run on it because I don't want to affect my my retirement, that I'm walking around on crutches or some craziness. So I don't believe that. And even if that is the case, and even if he did tell him to do it, well, you can still have your equipment on and just walk off the field. Right. You don't need to like run around, throw your shirt off, hope that maybe you're gonna get like a modeling fucking career going on moving forward or something, right? Like showing off the abs and shit. Like, yeah, look at me, I'm Jack. Yeah, peace out. Number one, New York. I'm number one.
Jules, when I first seen it, right? Because you know how my setup is. I had like in the corner of my eye, I see this maniac on the field. I'm like, oh, did a fan run on the field? I'm like, that's not a fan. I'm like, that gotta be Antonio Brown. I see his hair and shit. He's fucking going nuts. He's waving to the crowd, getting them pumped up. I'm like, yo, dude, this fucking guy is terrific, man.
I mean,
what an absolute lunatic.
Yeah, and the best was listening to some of the announcers, and like honestly, you could tell like former coaches and players all doing the after post game and all this kind of nonsense. They had no way to really answer that. So at first it was like, do we do it like with like sincere concern? Are like we just like appalled by this? And this guy's just a total asshole. Like they had no clue. You could hear it in their voices. Like some of them were like, do I even try to defend this guy? Like they're like, yo, fuck this. I hope he gets help. I hope he gets help.
That's what Tom Brady said. Tom Brady said we should pray for him or some shit. I'm fucking I'm like, hell no. Oh man.
Hey, listen. I'll tell you the truth. If he would have gone as far as like pulling everything down and he literally would have just ran out with just like his cup on, then I would be like, yo, this dude needs some serious help.
Yeah. He's definitely somewhat mental. Yeah.
If he's literally just running around with his cup on and like, doing jumping jacks in the end zone like that,
Yeah, he went out his way. I tell you that,
That's
people
retire. Sure.
People like have a nice press conferences like, oh, I'm going to retire. They cry. My man went out the way he wanted to, man. God bless him, because he ain't getting.
Well, because we're going to probably get into this a little bit later in the show about two extremes, right? Extremes of one end to another, and whether or not either of them are good. Let's take a note at Ben Roethlisberger last night, right? Yeah. Playing his final game in Pittsburgh, ending a pretty historic, probably Hall of Fame career. I mean, I just say probably because pretty much he's in, but like, you can't say it until he actually is. It takes him taking that knee to end the game. he was crying, he was choked up. Listen, the season's not over, and technically they're a win away from clinching a playoff spot with a little bit of help. He kind of took it as if that was his last game being ever played. Granted, it's his last game in Heinz Field, but you look at the way that two people are sort of ending their careers, and you got one guy kind of ended it like you said, Antonio Clown. I love that. Versus Ben Roethlisberger, who maybe had a shaky start to his career with a lot of controversy and how he got caught up in the media, but ending it at least as a class act and a gentleman in the end. So it is a tale of two halves there in a sense, and definitely extremes, which I definitely want to get into, and I'm going to kind of foreshadow that for the rest of the podcast as far as extremes are concerned. But just a couple of things that needed to be noted that was mainly big news around the NFL as far as I think we're concerned, or the show's concerned, right? But this is a Giants podcast. We do have to get into a few things, and one thing, and pretty much the only two things that I'm going to even bring up that you had to bring up besides the Bears that, I wish you would have fucking called me up, because I probably would have doubled down with you, especially knowing that you ran up to Connecticut that early in the morning to make sure you got that bet in to come back. Listen, next time you shoot me a text, bro, I'm in, all right? But, with all that said, oddly enough, it's somehow in a disgusting game, in my opinion, offensively, ended up being Barkley's best game of the season rushing. I mean, granted, he didn't get in the end zone, but like literally on the ground, he had 10 yards, 120 yards, whatever it was. I don't even care at this point, but he was over 100 yards. He broke the century mark for the first time this entire season. Okay, in a game that meant absolutely nothing. In a game where, and here's the other point that I have to make, we had negative 10 yards passing. Negative 10 yards passing. Like, I don't care what you have to say. I don't give a shit if Kenny Galladay was getting fucking triple teamed, okay? And they just have negative 10. And listen, honestly, I would honestly put it out there. If you give me an entire offseason, an entire training camp, an entire preseason, and then 16 games in the regular season, I'm pretty sure I could play quarterback and get more than 10 yards passing, dude, all right? I would just practice a couple of screenplays or something that I know is going to work, and I don't care how fake an injury after we go for more than 10 yards, all right? Like, I don't care if my passing is, 16 or fucking, like 1 of 16 for 8 yards, all right? And I have 7 interceptions, and I got sacked 4 times. As long as I'm ahead of that negative sign. Like, dude, that's just unexcusable. It should never be accepted by any Giants fan, any fan in general, okay? I don't care what team you root for, unless you're watching high school football, where I haven't even seen that shit happen in high school, okay? Negative 10 yards passing is absolutely, I don't give a shit who's playing. Joe Judge could have went out and played center. Is unexcusable, dude. That's it. There's nothing that can be said to that.
Well, listen, I'll debate this. There's context to it, because we went at this a little through text message. Okay, first off, like, it was Mike Glennon. Okay, and they only allowed him to throw the ball 11 times, because after the very first play, he dropped back, he got hit immediately, strip sack. All right, then the next time he had the ball, fucking interception. Then the next time, sack. Then all of a sudden, nice little 4-yard pass, right? Then an incomplete. Then a 12-yard pass, and another strip sack, another incomplete. 12-yard pass, a 13-yard scramble, pass for a 4-yard loss, which I don't know how the fuck happens. Then incomplete, then another sack, then another strip sack, then incomplete, and another interception. Okay, so maybe like they're trying to protect him in a way. Like, maybe we don't want him to throw the ball a lot because he has nobody to throw the fucking ball to, and they had to run. I mean, the reason why Barkley had all those yards, because I think they ran the ball like 60 fucking times. I mean, what else did they want to do, Jules? Like, we're missing another offensive lineman. He was out. Fucking Nate Soldier came back with COVID. He was fucking playing. But I mean, they just look fucking atrocious. I think they're just trying to protect Mike Glennon, and they still didn't protect him, because all of a sudden Mike Glennon on injury reserve now with a wrist injury, with a broken wrist or whatever. So he probably hurt that, I think, earlier in the game, because he was handing off always with his right hand, no matter what side of the running back was on. So it was very awkward to watch that for the rest of the fucking game. So, man, listen. Good luck to my fucking Jake from State Farm next week, because it's going to be another fucking
State Farm. From State Farm. Listen, I hear what you're saying, all right? But at the end of the day, it's inexcusable. And I'm going to repeat myself probably about 45 times, to have negative 10 yards as a professional football team, okay? On this level in the NFL, right? Because there are professional football teams like Arena League and Canada and all Canada and all that kind of nonsense, all right? But yo, you cannot, I don't give a shit. And then you want to talk about protecting Mike Glennon. Okay. Were both of our tight ends healthy for the game? Was Rudolph healthy? Was Ingram healthy? Right? They could be serviceable weapons. The last time I checked, those guys can run routes. Yeah, Ingram's 50-50 with actually catching the ball, but you know what? He's pretty good. He can catch sometimes, right?
They had to stay in the block.
But look, I don't understand. Why not? I don't know. Oh my God, maybe have double tight formations. Oh, 2 10-10 sets. Oh my God, that'll bring in some extra blocking on the outside there for you. You leave one guy home, you put the other guy in the route. You don't know which one's staying home. You don't know which one's going out.
That's
you mix it up a little bit. All right. No, instead, Rob Sale or Kitchens, whoever's actually coming up with some of this nonsense, decided to do an offensive line stunt on a 3rd down passing play, which did lead to one of those strip sacks. Okay. Sorry, stop. To actually think that you're going to now take your best offensive lineman, which is Andrew Thomas, hands down, right? And have him actually down block on a 3rd down passing play while you'll take Scorer, who's filling in for Price, who had to leave for personal reasons, and hopefully everything's okay in his family and everything else. But you're going to take a guy who's not been playing in that position the entire year and have him pull to try to defend one of the best pass rushers coming from the Bears. Dude, this is nonsense and idiocracy. Like, there's no way you can defend any of that. And that shit was going on.
Maybe it was just like a shock play. Like they'd never expected it, the defense, and they thought it was just going to fucking work. So I know I heard the fucking announcers too. I'm just like, I yelled at my TV, Jules. I'm like, just shut the fuck up. I'm like, we can't block anything. It doesn't matter what we try to do.
Oh my God. Yeah, fucking... the best was I was screaming at the TV because, everything happens so fast and the camera angles don't always have you watching everything, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, Andrew Thomas just got beat that bad. But I'm like, but that didn't look like Thomas. I was like, wait, is he not in? They rotated somehow, like Solder on the left side for a second, and like Thomas had to come out of the game. And then all of a sudden they freeze frame it and they see it in slow motion. And I see Thomas down blocking, and I'm like, what? And then whoever the fuck was that left guard at the moment, down blocking. And here comes fucking Scorer coming looping around, trying to do this crazy ass stunt to catch the defensive end. And here's another thing with that. If you're going to do a play like that, at the very least, as soon as that ball is snapped, Glennon or whoever's that quarterback should be rolling to the right so that he is getting the F away from that play so that your center who is now pulling doesn't have to pull all the way to the other line, to the end of the line of scrimmage, can literally just kind of take 1 or 2 side steps and then would just be sort of that backside of protection for the offensive line and for the quarterback. But no, instead it was a regular drop back pass. As a matter of fact, I think it was like a 5 or 7 fucking step drop back, which makes it even worse. It's not because obviously we're going to do some stupid ass stunt like that. You can't be doing a 3-step because you're going to get hit by the center. So you literally had to drop back that way. Instead, you literally just took 4 or 5 steps to your right and then had the center block out. Now the pocket is sort of on the move, which they always talk about doing when you're having a shitty sort of offensive line. It's sort of move the line around, but the quarterback can't stay stationary. There's no stationary pocket. You got linemen moving around.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Listen, I give it to you. I give it to you. It's a good point, but I think just like the fact that the announcers would just make it such a big deal, a big fuss about one play. I'm like that. It's been every play the whole fucking year. Like we can't catch a break fucking playing offensive line apparently with the fucking Giants.
But listen, you know what? You see bonehead calls like that where literally, like I suggested earlier, you could literally have 2 tight end sets. Like imagine if you just had either old man Rudolph there or whatever, where he just freezes for a second and like bumps the defender and then releases into the pass play.
They did it in New England.
Because you're pulling center an extra second to come out. Instead, you had no lineman at all to that left-hand side, and you made your best one down block. It's just absurd, bro. And it just kind of like spells out to the point why in the last 35 drives, we've only had 1 single TD. All right. You talk about wide receivers, okay, and Mike Glennon and hurt linemen. All right. I'll bring up the Jets. I don't give a shit how banged up Tampa Bay was or is, and their secondary, and maybe JPP didn't play. They were missing a couple of players on defense. Big effing deal, okay? Because
a lot.
They didn't have receivers either. Their top 3 receivers were hurt. They got 2 linemen that are out. And yet, Zach Wilson is still fucking throwing the ball. He's throwing touchdowns. And don't make it seem like Zach Wilson is all of a sudden like this fucking phenom, because 2 weeks ago, Jet fans were running him out of New York. And now all of a sudden he's starting to look like the number 2 overall pick. Is he better than Mike Glennon? Hell yeah. Is he younger? Is he faster? Is he more coordinated? Absolutely. But still, he's throwing touchdown passes every fucking week, man. And he's able to move around, and he doesn't have weapons. So, bro, I'm tired of that shit being an excuse. It's just boring. It's old. It's tiring. You've had these issues for over a month now that Daniel Jones hasn't played, that these receivers have been missing games. You make shit happen. You got two tight ends that can go out and be decent receivers. You have Galladay that you paid $16 million a year, whatever the fuck it is, to play. You have 2 capable running backs that literally can catch out of the backfield. Have them both in the backfield. I mean, there's so many different things that this team can be doing. Instead of every time that we put Saquon on the backfield, it's running Wildcat, and we know 90% of the time he's running either right or left. I mean, come on, dude. You can come up with better plays even with a bullshit offensive line.
Well, it sucks for like Tampa Bay, just like I understand with the bullshit offensive line, but the Jets actually have a decent offensive line, even with Fant going out during the game with an injury, again carried off the field. Unfortunately, like Zach had plenty of time to throw the ball against that Tampa Bay defense. These cornerbacks, I think 2 cornerbacks showed up to the stadium like a half hour before the game started. They didn't even fucking bother playing until late in the game. And, Tom Brady, of course, came down the last fucking second and had to score a touchdown. Otherwise, the Jets could have moved back a couple spots and we could have moved ahead in the fucking draft. But Tom Brady has to do fucking something terrific, and the Jets just fucking blew it. But listen, it's different when a defense when they're all out of guys like Tampa Bay's defense. It was like easy for the Jets to move the ball. It's not so easy for us. If Daniel Jones was playing, I think people are starting to see if Daniel Jones was playing, he made up for a lot of our inefficiencies. I think people are starting to realize that now, because when we go from him to fucking Glennon or whoever the fuck we have, hopefully Brian Lewerke gets some fucking playing time this fucking week. I would like to see him fucking play, but it's totally different. And I tell you, Jules, man, and everybody was bitching. Like, I know everybody's bitching now about like, oh, we got to fire Judge. He's losing everything. He has no idea what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But these are the same people that wanted Jason Garrett on, right? Same fucking people. Like, oh, we got to fire everybody. We got to get Jason Garrett out of our offense. Sucks. Maybe he was trying to, help out for the offense. Tried to, it was pretty much not a good offense to begin with. And he was kind of like, keeping like a cloth over it, not exposing a lot of shit. So when Garrett was fucking here, like, we averaged like 18.9 a game, right? Total yards, 322, first downs a game, 19. And the red zone was like 2.7, right? Like when he was here. Then after, granted, I know we went to backup quarterbacks after the first game, but like we dropped off to points per game to 10.3, 10 fucking points. And then 240 yards a game, first downs down to 16. And then our red zone trips was only 1.7. So like, and for the people like that saying to, to fire Judge now, I don't see it, man. I don't understand how you can let him go when his first year, all right, rookie year, he was going into the building, COVID situation. He has no fucking camp. He's trying to fucking learn everybody's name through fucking Zoom meetings. Then his second year, you go in and everybody just dropped dead. How could you honestly look in the mirror and fucking blame this guy? Why? How could you do that, Jules? Why are you saying, oh, because game management, he fucking sucks, this and that? I hear that shit from these fucking beat writers. They just beat it down our fucking throats, trying to throw that into it, man. Like, these are the same motherfuckers that wanted Eli and Tom Coughlin gone. Can you give, like, Joe Judge a little fucking slack? Let me tell you another something before you go, Jules, because it got me so riled up. The press conference, right? Remember the press conference with Joe Judge in the beginning? He was just giving like the bland answers, like all like typical, like, oh, suit answers, like, oh, we're going to get better next week. Got to do this, right? And the media was all up on like, oh, he can't fucking answer a question. He can't go into fucking detail. He gives us these bland answers. Then this past week, he gives like a 11-minute press conference talking about how ex-players want to come here and it's a situation, we're building a foundation, blah, blah, blah. And now the media just fucking goes after him for that. He can't fucking win. Nobody can fucking win here.
All right, hold on. Let's not get too carried away with them like attacking Joe Judge in that sense, right? Because look, if you listen to the first few minutes of his talk, his post-game talk of the Bears, and you literally listen to the same first few minutes of his post-game talk from last year's game, I find it that if we did a blind taste test, which you didn't know which of the two it was, you wouldn't know which of the two it was, okay? And it's literally how identical they initially started, all right?
Okay.
And it was only until he got popped with a question or two, or he saw the faces out there in the crowd. Literally, he went off, and then he went on that 10-minute rant that we're going to get into in more detail, all right?
Yep.
And also, I want to kind of regress for a quick second and just kind of bring it up because I was saying that I was foreshadowing the two extremes, right? And currently, what I hear and what's being debated, whether it's beat writers, whether it's Twitter, whether it's on sports talk radio, whether it's on podcasts, all across this fucking great city and even other areas, is blowing up, blow the Giants up, go blow this whole thing up, fire Judge, trade Daniel Jones, trade Saquon Barkley, blow this whole thing up, start over. Let's get other coaches in here. Let's draft 5 offensive linemen with all our picks. Make sure 2 of them are in the first round. I mean, that's what you're hearing, right? And that's that major extreme, right? And then, listen, let's be fair. There's some guys, I'm not going to throw out names, maybe you and John, but, you guys are kind of on that other spectrum of that extremity. And I don't know if it's because people are pulling this kind of nonsense out of you, but you guys kind of thought, especially off of last week's podcast, that almost everything should be the way it is. You know what? We'll let Dave Gettleman sail up into the sunset with no fucking kind of remorse. We're going to keep Daniel Jones. We're going to bring back Joe Judge. We're going to hire within the fucking bring in another offensive coordinator, which is kind of too much extreme on that end. And to me, anytime you discuss extremities, right? You never want to be on either end, right? You have a fucking North Pole for a reason, right? Because it's super cold as shit up there. And then you can have things where it gets warmer, right? There's always an extreme point to everything, right? You know what I mean? And literally the things that are the best are in the middle, or at least closer to one end than the other, right? Which makes it more efficient. So I don't agree with either side, to be quite honest with you, because I think they're just too extreme. I don't think you go in and you detonate a bomb this year and blow everything up, right? I think, as you mentioned earlier, Daniel Jones hid the team's inefficiencies, if you would, right? That's a good way to describe it. But by doing that, I think Jones, maybe, look, you know what? People still say he's mediocre. People are still going to say that he's not, an elite quarterback, and that might be true. But at the end of the day, he managed enough this year to say that, look, if he is that sort of bridge quarterback, and if it is having to be sort of more season of restructuring and rebuilding, he seems capable enough to do that. I'm not liking the likes of Teddy Bridgewater or Marcus Mariota or Jimmy Garoppolo. Bro, for what reason? What I think the Giants are going to do, and I understand it kind of puts a weird sort of, push towards next season. I don't think they're gonna take his 5th-year option. They're going to put more pressure on Daniel Jones. He's going to stay around. Why not? It's cheap. The guy showed that he can play. Granted, he may not be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He might not be top 10. But you know what? If he can get in that top 15 range as a starting quarterback, that's still better than 2/3 of the league. Let's be smart here. So that's what I think he may start to fit in. I'm not quite sure he's there yet. It would be nice to see him have a little bit more healthy weapons around, a healthy offensive line, a couple of new drafted guys, maybe a few more free agents, and then we could really evaluate Daniel Jones. Do I think he's better than Sam Darnold? Yes, I do. I will go on record today and say that I think Daniel Jones is better than Sam Darnold. And I don't know why. It's just the way he approaches the game. Maybe it's his scrambling ability. I never saw Darnold run the way Daniel Jones runs. There was a little bit more poise in that pocket versus what I saw to Darnold, because I know that this comes up quite often. So, in that extent, I do think that he's a good fit. But we got to get into Judge. I am not going to lie. 2 years ago, I was on board. I loved his talk. I loved his moxie. I loved his presentation, his mannerism. He's going to change the culture. He's going to do this. Hey, Mike, what's starting to happen is like this guy, he is sound like a buffoon. He goes into this rant and he's calling out coaches. He's calling out former players. He's calling out former cultures that were in this locker room. There's ways to still do that without making it so specific where people are like, well, he just called out Pat Shermer. Wow, he just called out Golden Tate. Wow, he just called out this one and that one. Bro, what are you kidding me? And then he wants to now hang his hat on the fact that, well, I don't see guys planning golfing outings at the end of the game, and I don't hear guys going on vacation. Well, idiot. There's a thing called fucking COVID going on right now. All right, these guys don't want to go on vacation, end up with COVID, have to pay a fine, or not get, lose money because they got COVID and they did something stupid. Listen, I guarantee you next week they're going to be talking about that shit, or at the end of this week, rather, they're going to be talking about that shit like crazy. They're like, yo, our season's done. Fuck this. Let me get the hell out of New York. I'm done. I'm going to go to nice weather because it's getting cold up here. Like, dude, it's it. Like, this is what you're hanging your hat on? Like, bro, he's starting to look bad. He's just looking bad. He repeats himself game after game. If you listen to every single post-game talk prior to this past week, he says the same shit.
What else is he supposed to do?
Huh?
What else is he supposed to do, Jules? It's the same shit every week. They keep losing.
Stop saying that you're seeing improvements. This team is heading in the direction. Say, look, I'm kind of fed up too. I can see where this aggravation is coming from the fan base.
No, if he does that, Jules, if he does that, then he's throwing his backup players under the bus. As a coach, you just don't do that kind of shit. You never do that kind of shit ever. They're playing hard. They just suck. They just suck. That's all it comes down to.
You're going to excuse the fact of him actually calling out, well, you don't see guys on our sideline fighting. Like,
yeah,
listen,
I know.
Come on, bro.
I wouldn't have done all that.
It's like, he's like, look at how good we are, but you're not. You had negative 10 yards passing. Get a little angry. Get upset. Throw one of your fucking coaches under the bus. One of their coaches can step up like that Oklahoma State coach did and be like, yo, I'm a man. Pick on me, right? Like, you know what? You don't want to throw backups under the bus. Throw a coach under the bus. What, you really mean to tell me that Freddie Kitchens is going to be our offensive coordinator next year? I hope to God not. Because if he is, we got issues here, right?
Yeah,
like that's what I'm saying, man. So at this point in the season, you already fired Garrett. What? You can't fire fucking Kitchens. You want him to play one more. That's fine. You can say, look, maybe I didn't agree with all his play calling. It's something that him and I are going to work on next week. You know what? We should get better. That's an area of improvement. I'm going to take the blame. Oh my God, Judge, way to step to the fucking plate there, Dick. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. So now you bring in the inefficiencies that he's been doing with the clock management and that stupid shit, because I see him do it one more fucking time, I might break my fucking TV, where I see them run the offense on the field and foot down. And then they run the ball.
I know.
What the fuck is the point of that? And then he's a special teams fucking guru. The guy, they couldn't even tell that the ball wasn't going to go out of bounds. And the kickoff, and they fucked it up, and they started us on the 7-yard line.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Dude, there's just too much shit that happens that's unexcusable. And I think that his facade of all this talking and being articulate and this gang, man, look at me and I'm tough and this team is going to be great and we're built from the inside out. You're going to see, and that outside is going to start to show. It's a lot of talk, bro. And he's in Mary's head. For whatever reason, he marries his little bitch, and that's the end of it. And that's all I see. I don't see nothing else with Judge anymore.
Well, you got to give him at least somewhat credit about like the guys he's been bringing along. I mean, if he's considered these guys part of the foundation of what he's building, at least he's getting guys that are development, they're developing into certain guys, you know what I mean? Like, obviously we've seen Thomas, our left tackle of the future. Your boy Aziz going to be a linebacker of the future. He's playing well. Then we got, of course, McKinney. He's fucking been dominant. So at least we're getting pieces there, and he's developing these guys. We never developed players for like the past 10 years. And that's why we're in this fucking mess to begin with. We got guys like, I think even Ellerson Smith had a couple nice fucking moments rushing the passer. And Aaron Robinson has been fucking pretty good, man. And I know people like to knock that late round cornerback. Oh, we got another cornerback, but he's been playing pretty well. So like, I'm trying to take some positives out of it, and hey, listen, if we do go into this draft, I know, Jules, you don't want to do this. You don't want to go with two fucking offensive, linemen in the first two picks. I get that. I'm kind of like, I'm almost like 50-50 with that, to be honest with you, because if we get a guy like Evan Neal, right, come in here, first round pick, right, our first pick, then we take the Bears pick, and maybe, I don't think, Tyler, the center everybody's talking about, Linderberg.
Yeah.
I think like if he, I think he's projected to go in the teens. Like I said, hey, maybe you take that pick, you trade back a little bit, you pick him up, right? And then you come back into the first round, right? And get Kenyon Green. So you get fucking Evan Neal, Kenyon Green, and Tyler Linderbaum. That's a fucking offensive tackle a guard, and a center, that immediately upgrades your line. And then right there, that's just no more excuses. Can we get by on the defense? Maybe we get a late round in or a second rounder or a third round, like pass rusher. Can we get by with guys like, Smith, like rushing the passer, Aziz playing pretty well? Can we get by like that on defense? Maybe the defense won't be that exhausted next year if we're actually on the field running the ball because we got an actual offensive lineman. Jules, I'm kind of like getting persuaded to go that route. Imagine getting 3 straight offensive linemen to fix this line for fucking good. And then
but that's no guarantee.
I know. I know.
Away with it because what about Fowler, right? When we brought him in, right? When we have Flowers as our offensive tackle of the future, we brought in Puig out of Syracuse, and what did he do? Nothing, right? You know what I mean? So like, you can miss with first round picks. So why are you going to take it and say, okay, yeah, we're going to hit with at least one of these, right? I mean, to me, that's silly, especially when you're going to tell me, answer this and answer this. You be honest as much as you want. All you think you're more likely to find an actual starting Pro Bowl offensive lineman in the second round or a Pro Bowl edge rusher who's going to get you double-digit sacks? What do you think is more likely to happen in the second round?
All right. Normally, I would say getting that pass rusher on a normal draft. Okay. But I have to admit, this draft coming up in 2022 is fucking loaded with some premium offensive linemen. I don't know if it was the Giants' fucking way of trading that first round pick last year to get that extra first round pick. I don't know if they knew what was coming, but man, I mean, to have those 2 picks, they're pretty much at 5 and 8 right now, and then like an early second if they decide to trade back or trade back in, dude, that's some high fucking, I'm telling you, this class is loaded. Yeah, and I don't think we'd fail. I don't think we fail picking any of those 3 I just mentioned, to be honest with you. That's my
point. If it's that loaded, guys are going to slip, right?
Yeah,
if you could address a different area like pass rush, where now you could literally have 2 threats on the outside end with great guys in the middle, why would you not address that? If the talent is that deep, you're still going to get a stud in the second round. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, rounds 4 and 5, we'll find some extra linemen. No, bro, I'm saying go after that in the second round. Like, get it done then. You know what I mean? Get your pass rusher, get your stud offensive lineman, and get another fucking big stud in the second round, and get somebody through free agency in this line. It's ready to roll, man. So much better.
You want a pass rusher as one of those top 2 picks for sure.
I would love it. I mean, look, here's the issues with
some other guys want a quarterback like Kenny from Pitt. Like, you don't want that, right? You don't want the quarterback, right?
You know what? It literally what will have to happen is in regards to that is one of these quarterbacks will just have to shine. They're going to have like this amazing Senior Bowl, if any of them are even going to Senior Bowl, because I know a couple aren't, right? They're going to have some sort of amazing combine where you literally see them like just hitting every pass where, it's like a Russell Wilson in his pro day where like dude was hitting everybody in the chest and a face mask and, like you see some craziness like that, then yes. And honestly, if you're really going to go that route, you almost could probably trade back and still land a quarterback in this draft. As of today, I think a lot's going to change in the next few months. It always does.
Yep.
Right now, just because you're not hearing any quarterback buzz doesn't mean anything, right? Here's another way that kind of supports maybe taking 2 offensive linemen in the first round. My thing is right now, as of today, again, they still have the kid from Oregon and Hutchinson going basically 1 and 2, 1 top, 1, 2, or 3, whatever. They're kind of going in the top 3, which means we're going to have absolutely no shot at them, regardless of what happens on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So that's fine. Those 2 guys are gone. And you know what? I don't know how much how great the Greek freak is. Is he really worth the top 10 pick? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? The kid out of Purdue or whatever. I don't know. He might be. They're talking about a lot. He's got a lot of great raw talent. He's a big dude. He can get at it with the quarterback. So, that is a possibility, right? But that's where you got to start thinking, right? If Evan Neal's not there, you lost the 2 pass rushers. I know people want to throw around the safety out of Notre Dame. I know there's a lot of talk of that corner too. I can't think of the college right now, but obviously get close. I'll remember all the names. But you have all that being tossed around, right? My point is that if that quarterback does emerge, or if the 2 quarterbacks start to emerge, that's a great time where the Giants got to consider maybe they trade back. Right, they still have that 8-9 pick, and they could get their stud offensive lineman there, right? Especially one of the interior guys.
I think they
you
do.
know, and you trade back and you let these teams reach on one of those quarterbacks. And then later on in that first round, now you start evaluating, right? If that Greek guy went and you know, you're not feeling that pass rusher anymore, all right, you know what? Then I could consider taking another second offensive lineman in the first round. And then we'll see what's there in round 2 as far as defense is concerned. You know, that's sort of where you got to kind of see how this draft unfolds. And it's definitely a little early, but I like talking about this stuff early because
I do
this
too.
is where you start to really get the raw out and really figure out what's what. Because in all honesty, I don't think, and I'm going to say this now in January, before the playoffs, before the national title game, before any combines, all those nonsense, as much as they keep hyping Oregon and the kid from, you know, Michigan to both be number 1 and 2, I almost guarantee they don't go 1 and 2. Can almost guarantee it. All right. Because Jacksonville, as much as they could use it and be great to have that opposite of Josh Allen as far as the pass rush is concerned, they got to get some offensive line help. Do you want to ruin Trevor Lawrence's career? That guy's got to be upright, man. If this kid Neal is the real deal, which I know he looks a little raw on tape, I get it. But if he's really that real, he looked fucking great. We'll see what he does in the national title game. All eyes on him, right? Because that's this coming Monday. All eyes on him. He's a big dude. You cannot miss him at left tackle. If he holds it up and Alabama beats Georgia and he holds up and doesn't give any presses or sacks up, how is this guy not in the top 3? How is Houston or Jacksonville ignoring that when they need offensive line help? It'd be mind-boggling. So there's going to be that kind of shit that's going to be thrown in. And my prediction is, like I just said, I don't think they're going to go 1 and 2. You know, maybe the Jets, they're not going to be Buffalo. You know, Houston's not going to win. Yeah. So, like, the Giants moving up anything higher than 5 is just not going to happen anymore. That's it. It was last week that was going to happen, and it didn't. We didn't get the wish, so it doesn't matter what happens on Sunday. But to me, that's what I think I foresee for this draft upcoming in April.
Well, I think like Neal, like I think people are starting to be hyped on that NC State guy.
Yeah, that him too. I heard. Yep.
You know, like I think he's like now getting ahead of Evan Neal, like on Alabama. So I don't know. I think one of them's going to slip to us, but I definitely see that 8th pick, you know, with the Bears right now. I can see the Giants definitely trading back, but I wanted to ask you another question, Jules, like, because all right, we got with the quarterback situation, but let me ask you this. What if that safety, Kyle Hamilton at a Notre Dame, is available for us to pick? Would you take him at number 8? That's, I mean, let's be real. Like, I know, we need offensive lineman, we need a pass rusher, but my man, that'd be a tough pick to let go. Imagine teaming him up with McKinney. And we're going to need another safety. We're going to need one.
I mean, I get what you're saying there, right? It automatically should, at the very least, make our secondary what we thought it was going to be going into this season, right? And now you got 2 young studs like that, and they're going to complement one another.
Yeah.
For the next, whatever amount of years. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, at that point, it really depends on who we took prior to that 8th pick, if he even lasts to that 8th pick, because people have him projected in the top 5. So you got to keep that in mind. The Jets are a candidate to take him as well. So, there are teams that are definitely candidates to take him. And then also who's on the board, right? Like who did we take with our first pick? So like all that is going to factor in. But is it a name that's warming up to me and the possibility and him being there? Yes, I'm not going to hate on it. But at the same token, it really is going to depend on who's there, who's picked ahead of us, and what we took in that 5th pick overall. For it to actually make sense. But look, and look, again, if there's a quarterback lingering at that point and his name is still on the board, shit, a team's going to pay a hefty price to move into that spot if they want to. And you know what? I'll take 2 first-round picks again next year, so in 2023. So, like, I'm all for that too. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You don't want to just keep adding picks and adding picks. I mean, the only knock and the only concern I have on Hamilton is that he's hurt. He did get hurt this year. He didn't play a full season at Notre Dame. So, there is that concern. And just based off of our year, man, I don't want to hear any more players that we're drafting that high that have any kind of injury concerns, okay? Tony was hurt a bunch of times in Florida. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'd rather a guy of less quality that's just healthy and just is on the field is going to give me his all. I'd much rather hear that. All right? Like, I'm tired of hearing guys being injured. I'm over it. Too many years of this shit. This year's ruined me with that. So that's a concern when it comes to him, right? Like I have to consider that.
I think all Giants players should just go for a second opinion from now on, even mid-game. I mean, our doctors are just fucking screwing shit up. I know people like I get so much heat on social media for people knocking me because I'm, blaming the injuries or whatever. But I'm like, come on, man, can you just be real? Like everybody just dropped dead. It's fucking insane. This is unprecedented shit. But listen, man, whatever, man. Do you have anything else to talk about NFL?
I mean, listen, one thing that's just created a little buzz, I guess, because this coach came out and said that he's still interested in, perhaps pursuing leaving the college field and going back to the NFL. And that's Coach Harbaugh, right, of the Michigan Wolverines. It has drawn some interest. There are people talking about it. And listen, I did preach earlier in this show that I said, look, two extremes don't ever seem to really work. You never want to go to an extreme measure, right? They always tell you that kind of stuff. Like they warn against going into an extreme measure. So blowing up the entire team is an extreme measure. Yeah. Not doing anything is an extreme measure. But if you're going to keep Daniel Jones here, you're going to keep Saquon Barkley here, you're going to bring back Galladay, you're going to use these picks to go out and get offensive linemen and things of that nature. Harbaugh is a name to consider. Now, personally, I don't really like him. I'll be dead honest with you. If it was his brother over in Baltimore, oh my God, I'd be screaming from the fucking top of the Empire State Building to try to bring him in here because I think his brother's a way better coach. Right? Jim was the better football player. He was the better coach. Period. Stop. That's the end of it. You're not going to fucking argue me on that one. Did he turn around the 49ers? I don't know if it was so much him. They did change a lot of front office and personnel during that era, and that kind of also helped to bring the regime to a different phase of what they were. I know they went to the Super Bowl. They were getting waxed before that whole blackout. All right. Let's not forget that. He was getting waxed in that Super Bowl. They refreshed. The other team was a little off. Baltimore was a little like over rested. He came back. There was a lot of different things with that. Then he goes, this is his best run forever at the entire state of Michigan. It's the first time he beat Ohio State and the whole time he's down there. And then they go get embarrassed at Georgia. So like he doesn't win the big game either. So like, maybe second time around is better for the NFL. It's possible. And look, I'll tell you the truth, man, Joe Judge is falling out of favor with me. So it is a name to sort of kind of throw around there. And at least they should put some fire in Judge's asses so he could be at least put his head on straight. And realize there are candidates out there that could literally take his job with no problem. And you know what? Maybe bring in Harbaugh and you have him do both. You have him be the coach and GM type of thing, right? And like really try it out. But, that's, a little extreme or not, or maybe he brings in his offense coordinator, has to deal with Jones. It doesn't blow it up completely. It is an idea, but I think he did mention in his tweet or whatever he did was that he was kind of feeling Vegas's job more so than anything else. Yeah. I think he wants to be in that spotlight and he saw what he has there. So I don't know, man. It could just be fire, smoking, with his fire, all that kind of shit. Who knows? He could end up just staying at Michigan. Michigan could turn around, throw him a ton of money, and that's the end of it. And his name goes right out the window. So who knows with that? I don't know what your feel is on that.
I mean, all I'll say about him, like I know we were in a group text with our friend Anthony, and he said like Harbaugh with the New York media. He's right. It doesn't seem like a good match, and I don't think he'd. You know what I mean? He seems like the kind of guy that wouldn't put up with shit, but he would just create more arguments. You know what I mean? It would just be a fucking total disaster, and he probably wouldn't last anyway. So like, just move on. Keep Judge. You know what I really want, Jules, to be honest with you? We'll get into it like in the offseason, but there's a few offensive coordinators that I wouldn't mind from the college situation to come here, especially with our young team and a young offense. There's a few guys I would love for the Giants to get. And we could talk about that, in episodes down the road once this fucking horrible season ends. I can't fucking wait. Can we just get into these picks? Are we done now? Can we take a break?
Just to kind of joke real quick.
God, here we go.
All this celebrity boxing and YouTube boxing and all these personalities and basketball players fighting, Frank Gore fighting a basketball player, all this shit going on. Dude, the way Judge talks so much shit, he's like this tough guy. Yeah, I want to see like one of the coaches like Rex Ryan challenge him to a fight. That's it. Bro, look at that pay-per-view. Rex Ryan versus Joe Judge in the fucking ring, bro. Like, now we'll see how tough you are, motherfucker. Because I'm telling you, now the way antics are going and the way he's talking, that's going to be the best job he's going to get is a fight with Rex Ryan in the ring.
Yeah, the Giants organization, they don't need that. They don't fucking need that right now, man. They're getting a lot of heat for a lot of shit.
But yeah, man, on that note, we take a quick commercial break and we're going to come back with the picks, man. It's the last week of the season. Lots to talk about before we do the picks as far as the standings are concerned and what some of the rules are and who might win this and who might lose this and who's still alive. Right, Mike? I don't know. That's what I think is coming up next.
Let's go, man. We'll be right back with the BBO NYG podcast. All right, guys, we are back with the BBO NYG podcast. I'm Mike. That is Jules. We're gonna go on, with the standings for the play action pool, Jules. But there's a little certain situation we got going on. So for all the guys that are listening, I know you're in this. So we have the standings, but I'm not even gonna mention the standings where we are, where other people are. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's half the people on this pool wrote reviews. So if you read the rules, they are eligible. And I'm going to tell you, as a little fucking surprise, the top probably 10 people, 10 to 12 people did not write any reviews. So they will not be eligible for the $300 prize. So unless they write a review from now until we announce the winner next week on next Tuesday, they will not be eligible. So somebody down low could get it. So it could be anybody's game as of right now today.
Right,
so
we have guys that have been winning, play this thing all year long, right? I gotta get this straight
all
in my
year.
head. All year long, right? And they're supposed to be loyal listeners, right? They're in this contest. They're in this to win cash and prizes from courtesy of the BBO NYG, right? And yet they don't even write a review. It's pretty damn simple, man. You go on, you tell us how good we're doing, how shitty we're doing, whatever, man. Put up 5 stars, put up those stars. Go out there and write a review for us. And that just goes for anybody that's listening. Please, we appreciate it, all right? Go out, put down a review. Tell us how the show's doing. We tell you all the time, DM us at the BBO NYG on Twitter, all right? We've given out the same email address multiple times. What is it, Mike? What is it at Gmail? What's the one at Gmail?
It's either one, a Gmail or AOL. It's just Big Blue Offensive.
That's it. Big Blue Offensive at Gmail. Big Blue Offensive at AOL. Very simple, man. We answer, respond back to that. Drop a like and literally hit a comment. That's all we're asking. And for those of you who are in the front and you're not doing that, you're in jeopardy because that was one of the rules for entry. So I'm surprised, Mike, because I'll tell you the truth. I thought this was done weeks ago. But hey, listen, anybody's game. And for the most part, it is pretty tight. Right? It is pretty tight. There is a tight knit right there as far as like the 4, 5, and 6 and some of the other ones are concerned. But yeah. And we made a little bit of comeback here on the BBO, did we not?
Yeah, we did. We're at like 157.5. The top guy, Woody, is at 175.5. I got to check his scores because I don't know. Maybe is he getting double picks right now like that? He's just fucking blowing away with it, man. He's fucking crushing it. But once again, he's a top guy, but he did not write a review yet. And we see the reviews. It don't even have to be through an email. You could just post it on like YouTube or whatever. We get everything. We get everything sent to us. So I'm just letting you guys know to be eligible for the prize. Don't hate. Don't hate.
Apple, iPods and all that kind of shit, man. That's
all platforms.
Love on, man.
All platforms.
So you got to post one. You don't got to post everyone, although we'd appreciate it if you did. But you just got to post the one.
It's going to be very interesting, man. Come Tuesday, man. I'm telling you.
Next Tuesday is going to be fun. That's why we said we had a big announcement before we do our picks. But let's see what happens. They got a week to do it. All right, one week ahead.
I cannot believe this is the last week of the NFL season. But Jules, I wanted to tell you before we got on the air, I was going to tell you something about. So I'm in like as far as gambling goes, me and our friend Nick. Nick is a friend of the podcast. He's my co-host on the Mix It Up. We're in a Monday night rollover pool, right? So the last week, it was, yesterday, it was the last Monday night game, and the final was 9,000. So me and Nick had 9 and 4. So if you looked at the score, it was 19-14, right? All of a sudden, Pittsburgh recovers the onside kick. I'm like, game over. We're fucking set. We're going to get $4,500 each, right? And all of a sudden, they fucking like a little run here. I'm like, oh, they're going to kneel down because they want Ben Roethlisberger to take the kneel, go out in the sunset. My man, Najee Harris, man, on 3rd down and 1, fucking slips a fucking tackle, fucking runs it on the sideline. The fucking safety, whoever the fuck that is, just gave up. He didn't even bother tackle him at he could have tackled him at the 3-yard line, just did not bother. And he ran to the house and let somebody else win. $9,000 out the door. All they had to do was take the fucking knee. That's what normal teams do. So for that to happen, to take it to the house, that rarely happens. And we got fucked at a $9,000 right there on the last week, man. Woo! So yeah. So thank God I bet the Bears against the fucking Giants. Otherwise, I would have been miserable last night.
I thought I swallowed a big pill, right? In one of my bigger fantasy football leagues, I literally had the best record. I was talking about this last week, right? And what's the worst thing that can happen when you're the number one seed, you got the most points, you're rolling, you literally play a game where you lose 2 running backs in that game in the first quarter, and you only lose by 1/10 of a point. That's correct. 0.1. All right, 1 fucking 1/10 of a point because 2 running backs that you had started got hurt in the first quarter. Not like they, you had an off game. They got stuffed. They weren't part of the fucking game plan. No. They got first quarter, didn't play. I need 10 yards out of 2 different gentlemen, and I fucking win hands down easily. So just find out you're sitting in a 3rd place game, and in that league, of course, the 3rd place game is worth money. And what happens? You look over and you see the championship game, and you're like, yeah, I could beat both of those teams. All right. And then all of a sudden, you go against Jamar Chase, you go against fucking Rashard Penny, who was picked up right before the playoffs. And literally, these guys are fucking having a game of their life. And all of a sudden, you're in a dogfight with a fucking team that didn't even have a winning record, and they beat you. So now you go from having the best team in the league. You're going in, 2 guys get hurt, you lose by 1/10 of a fucking point, and you go from 1st to 4th, which pays nothing.
Oof.
All right,
that is terrible.
You're kidding me, dude. 1/10 of a point from 1st to worst.
That's why I hate fantasy football, because even though you're the best team, you lose to a shit team, and it just doesn't make any sense the last week because people fucking injuries, right? But injuries don't matter. Let me fucking not talk about it, right?
Injuries don't matter. They kind of do when you could have started other players in their place, and they get the first fucking quarter. Matter of fact, I don't even think James Robinson survived the first fucking drive. But whatever, right? Just saying, fucking hate fantasy. Literally was in 9 semifinals over the last 2 seasons, and I have fucking 2nd place finish and 1 3rd place finish. Fuck yourself, fantasy football. But anyway,
that is fucking brutal, man.
I don't know what more to do, bro. Maybe you're gonna my own YouTube channel, because obviously it's just that these motherfuckers get hurt and I don't have any luck, so that's it. Maybe you guys do. Who knows?
Man, that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, dude. So I get it. Aggravation's over. We got pickems. We got playoffs. Playoff football's always fun. So let's just see what happens here the last week of the season. The only thing I can say going in with these picks, it really does come down to who needs it more. And
tough week.
Unless it's a huge whacked out point spread, it's who needs it more. That's what I think the whole theme of this week's pick should be.
Dude, it's like this is the last week is always tough because who is going to rest guys? Like who's playing? Like what are they playing for? Like there's it's a lot of different scenarios.
Well, listen, I think the first game on the list is the perfect example, right? I mean, you would think that the Kansas City Chiefs have nothing to play for, but they absolutely do. They are currently the number 2 team in the AFC. There's only one team that's getting a bye this week. So do you want to just give up the number 1 seed? Or are you going to go into Denver, march in the Mile High, and play a team that's in your division that has nothing to play for, except beating you and keeping you from that number 1 seed? So in my opinion, it's the Chiefs -10.
Right.
Who needs it more? The Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't see how you don't take them.
So if Kansas City wins, right, and if Tennessee loses, they get the number 1 seed and a first round bye, right? And home field advantage.
That's correct. And the only team in the AFC to get a bye. So I mean, dude, if they're not putting it on the line against the Broncos there, with that being, it's a 4:30 game. And then let me just see something really quickly. The Titans do play at 1. I mean, I guess if you see that, either way, you got to win. Because even if you saw that the Titans lose at 1, and we'll get to who they're playing in a minute because they're not going to lose. You got to still go for it. What are you going to be like? Nah, fuck it. We're going to take this week off and we'll play next week. Hell no.
Yeah, but do they I mean, obviously, okay. So we're going to see like the Titans, they're probably going to fucking beat the Texans. You would think, right?
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that one. But for now, Mike,
it's tough. Because if say after the 1 o'clock games is over and Titans just fucking kick the shit out of Houston, then all of a sudden, what is Kansas City playing for?
Well, at that point, I think then they could still lose the number 2 seed if I'm not mistaken. Yes, because they just can take off. Okay. I think the Bengals can jump them. But that literally
right. Because if Cincinnati wins and a Tennessee loss and Kansas City loses,
then the Bengals can actually be the number 1 seed.
Okay,
so there's still that to sort of play for. You know what I mean?
But still,
and I guess you know what?
Lose.
Look, right, probably not.
So now you see what I'm saying. So they're gonna know it after 1 o'clock if Tennessee's gonna fucking beat the Texans. There's no doubt. Then Kansas City's gonna fucking rest guys. Then the Bengals are probably gonna rest guys. So who do we take? It's tough. I hate this fucking week.
It's a tough week, right? Who needs it more? Who wants it more, right? That's what it all comes down to. And here we are in this situation. Look, my gut tells me take the Chiefs. I don't know if it's just because they were kicking my ass, the last month of the season. And now I'm just like, how are they not? And look, that Cincinnati game, Cincinnati was red hot. They were at home. And, it took, I don't know if you watched the end of that game.
It was awesome.
First and goal twice.
Yeah.
They scored a touchdown from the 1, bro, with 8 pounds. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's what it took for the Chiefs to lose. So, I don't
Dude, it's like, all right, so we're expecting the Titans to fucking kick the shit at Texans, right?
Yeah, I guess we are.
What if the Texans, because the Texans have been playing pretty tough, what if they do upset Titans?
At home, and I just don't get how the Titans have been winning, but they just have. They don't stop winning.
They don't stop.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I guess in that scenario, fine. If you want, we will play it that the Titans are going to win, so we go Broncos.
But what if the Texans win? And if the Texans upset the Titans, then Kansas City has something to win for. So I'm willing to go Kansas City -10, and I'm willing to go the Texans +10.
You'd rather see it that way, huh?
I'd rather see it that way because I think the Texans just don't give a fuck, and they're going to do stupid shit, and it's a division game.
Well, I'm going to tell you this much. I think what you should do on Sunday is, right, when you're in the car in the fourth quarter, instead of listening to the fucking watching the Giants game, put that shit on the radio. Go drive to Connecticut.
Yeah.
The fucking lot, right?
Yeah, I know.
Do what you got to do.
A
beer, whatever, don't go too crazy. You're driving. But, and then if we hear that Titans won, to go hard and hammer Denver, right?
Right. I know.
If they lost, you better hope that line was like played around a little bit and hammer the Chiefs as fast as you can, all right? So, I mean, I see it that way. I don't know, man. You're right. It's a coin flip. You know what? I will give you, since John is not here today, we don't have a traditional tiebreaker. If you really want to go Chiefs and Texans, I'm down to do that.
All right. Yeah, let's do that. I could see the 1 o'clock game. I could see the Texans just fucking playing them hard, man. I could see them upsetting them. All right.
So literally, it might have seemed a little long-winded, but we did just take 2 picks of basically equal spread.
Right.
So we took the Chiefs -10 and we took the Texans +10. And you know what's going to end up happening? The Titans.
I know. I know what's gonna happen. I know. Shit. All right. So next game, a division game in the NFC is the Cowboys, which, by the way, Dak, like, if you look at his record, he's like 16-2 against the NFC East, but he's like 14 and like fucking 30 against everybody else. So I don't understand how he's such a great quarterback, because he's been playing the Giants, he's been playing Philly and Washington all his fucking life. And they all suck.
Supposedly, like, the NFC East is like the joke of the NFL, right? The worst division in football, blah, 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 blah. Yep. Yeah. Well, he plays 6 games there. I mean, what do you expect?
Right.
Look, with this game, I hate it, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. And I am going to take a home team with 7 fucking points all
Hell
day.
Yeah. Yep. All day.
Like, I do not see the Cowboys blowing out the Eagles. This should be a tight game. 3-4 points max settles this game. And honestly, I honestly want to almost moneyball this shit, because I do not see the Cowboys going in and blowing out the Eagles. Although
I agree.
Although the Eagles have already, but yeah, you know what? And look, you could play that card real quick if you wanted to in your mind and say to yourself, well, the Eagles are in, so they have nothing else to play for, right? If they lose, I don't think they can get eliminated. I think they actually clinch the playoff spot, and the Cowboys clinch the playoff spot, and the Cowboys really have nothing to play for in a sense, because the Green Bay Packers have the number 1 seed. So what are they playing for then, right? So I don't know. In that case, even if it does go to backups, I'm still going to favor the Eagles at home. That's it.
This week, I tell you, week 18 now, I guess it's called. It's such a mind fuck. Yeah. All right, so
this is a dangerous week to actually bet.
Yeah, it's a real tough week. All right, the next game is All right. So I heard this press conference. So it's the Packers. They're away. They're in Detroit. Packers are only -2.5. So it seems like, oh, everybody will load up on the Packers. But what the coach said today was saying he's going to play his guys because he don't want his guys to have 3 weeks off going into the playoffs. Correct. So with that in mind, I know like Aaron Rodgers, like even if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, he might play a quarter, maybe they rest him with his toe. But they got a decent backup. He was showing some stuff the other night when he was playing in there. So I got to go with the Packers, bro.
I hate it, right? Because, like, even if you do have Jordan Love and then you have, like, let's even say that they rest Jones, right? And then they rest Devontae Adams. Lazar's been playing great. A.J. Dillon's fucking been looking awesome. Like, their other guys are still really good. Like, so Adams just plays the first half and Rodgers plays a quarter. And these other guys didn't come in there. And you know what? Yeah, I think they should be able to cover that 2.5. I like the Packers as well, man. Period. Yeah. I see what you're saying there.
Yep. All right, next game. All right, speaking of the Steelers, fuck them, man, for making that run to the end zone. Cost me $9,000. Steelers are away. They're in Baltimore. Baltimore, man, they lost 5 in a row, man. Steelers are getting 5.5 points. Everybody, like, this was my point, Jules, early in the week. Like, the Ravens lost 5 in a row, but nobody gives them shit because, they're hurt, they're injured. And so we respect them, but we don't respect the Giants because, Ravens got all hurt. They can't win the games. They lost 5 in a row. But, it's just weird how the narrative changes depending on where you are, where you live in this country, because the New York media is just fucking filled with fucking assholes. But let me stop. The Steelers are getting 5.5 points. What do you think happens, man? Do you think Big Ben goes to the playoffs?
Oh, man. I'll tell you, he's going to be doing everything he can to make it. And the way Harris ran this past Monday night, and he's got the receivers, and I mean, dude, he's gonna let it all hang out, right? Like, you got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? You got nothing to lose here. On the flip side to that, the Ravens are home, and the Ravens are pissed. And they're going to want to fucking beat the Steelers in the worst way, right? Just to know that they knocked them out, And listen, the Steelers are still going to need a little help. They're going to need a loss out of another team or two, you know what I mean, to get in there. But you know what? In this scenario, I'll take the points. I will take the points, even though I hate the Steelers on the road. I think they suck as road teams. But I think Ben is just going to let it all hang out. And he's going to play this as this is his last NFL game. So he might go out with a little bit of a bang. And at the very least, I see it close, and I see it closer than 5.5.
Well, yeah, I could see him playing it pretty tight, but Steelers, even if the Steelers win, they would have to hope the Colts lose to the Jaguars. And we all know that's not going to happen. So the way he was crying like last night, he pretty much knows like he has no shot of getting to the playoffs. And I know they both play at 1:00, so they're gonna play hard. And I could see the Steelers playing hard to give him one last shot. So I'll take the points with the Steelers.
I got you. And I get what you're saying with the other matchup there. If the Chargers lose, they're going to lose to the Raiders, who the Raiders are now going to jump it because they got the extra win. So no matter what happens in that match, there's no way unless somehow the Raiders and the Chargers tied. But even if they did tie, I think the Chargers had the tiebreaker at that point. I'm not sure, actually. So don't hold me to that. That might be the only scenario there. Literally, they would need either the Colts to lose to the Jags, which is not going to happen because they could get knocked out of the playoffs. They would need the Chargers and the Raiders to tie.
That's crazy. It's not going to fucking tie. What's the odds of that? You know what I mean?
Right. Let me just double check that. Right. Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right.
Sunday Night Football. So, so here's another thing there now. That's a Sunday Night Football game. And technically, the Steelers would need them to tie. But again, I don't know if they have a tiebreaker there. So, obviously, if either of those teams win, they get 10 wins and they're going to have more wins than the Steelers, and the Steelers are out. But on some weird oddball chance that game ties on Sunday night, the Steelers could sneak in. So, just a little extra motivation there as far as the Steelers pick is concerned.
It's fucking strange. All right. The next game. All right. The Bengals are away. Bengals are favored by 3.5 going against the Browns. Baker just opted for surgery, so he's out.
Yeah.
What do you think happens in this game?
Bengals all day. I'm not even right. The only thing I would be somewhat concerned about was that I know Burrow took a little hit to the knee at the end of the game this past Sunday. But he looked healthy, he looked fine. That kid's on fire right now, right? The Browns team banged up that lost to Pittsburgh. They got nothing to play for. Their quarterback's out. if the Bengals don't go in and just finish up, especially with that 1:00 game, knowing that if the Tennessee Titans that playing at the same time lose, and then Kansas City somehow loses in Denver, that they could jump into the number 1 seed. Yeah, no, I 100%. I gotta love the Bengals. Yeah, I'm actually moneyballing the Bengals.
They got something to play for, and if everybody watched the Mannings, they had a guest on last night, was the commissioner Roger Goodell, and they were saying how much they liked the last the extra game going into week 18, how there's more teams involved, and the playoff situations. It's all, this team got to win, and they flex all the games, they put them on different times or the right times to like keep it balanced, so like people aren't just like, all right, if they lost, we're not going to play hard. So I like the way the NFL is doing things right now. So yeah, Bengals it is, man. And the next game, we already took the Texans. They're getting 10 points. So we're going to go with the game that me and Jules definitely want, the Vikings to fucking beat the Bears. So we get that at least the 8th pick and hopefully move up. But the Vikings, they're at home. They're -2.5. Cousins is back. I think the Vikings all day, man. They're still going to play.
I guess. I just think that like if this is Nagy's last game, that the Bears could just let it hang on the line. It's not like if they lose this game, their draft stock changes, right? Like if they win the game, if anything, they're more like fuck you.
I know. Let's just root for the Minnesota Vikings, Jules, please. Come on.
Oh, I root for them. But if you really want to, I'll give you that one. But I'm honestly kind of fading the Bears a little bit. A little.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't trust Andy Dalton going against Minnesota.
Oh.
All right. So Minnesota it is. All right. Next game, Washington is coming to the Giants. We're taking Washington, right? They're 6.5.
Yeah,
I mean, are the Giants ever going to cover? No. We're going with Jake. We're going with Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm's going to get fucking crushed. It's going to be bad.
We already saw what fucking Jake from State Farm was all about a couple weeks back, so it's not gonna be any different. I'm sorry.
Is that a money ball?
Oh yeah, it probably should be, right? Like look, not only is it a money ball, like Saquon should just sit the game out,
right?
Like Kenny Galladay sit the game out. Like there's no reason to play. You guys gave up on a season. You can't win and like do anything differently. Why? Like stop. Like that's it. Your coach gave billboard material, quote unquote, for fucking Washington. We're calling them out about fighting on the sideline. Bro, let it go. Take the go home and let's fucking get ready for 2022. All right, that's it.
No doubt. All right, the next game, which I'm betting hard because it's probably an easy bet. I know it's 15.5, but the Colts are 15.5 favorites against the Jaguars. I'm taking the Colts all day.
My only concern. The Colts are up, big lead. They're up 20 fucking points. They take a guy out. A fucking touchdown sneaks in, cuts it down to fucking 13. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a possibility. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge spread.
I know.
That's the only thing. Like, the only concern I have is that they go up big by the third quarter. They're up maybe, I don't know, like I just, the scenario I gave, even say 21. They're up 21 fucking points. The starters ain't playing the fourth quarter.
No, but they have to win to make the playoffs. They have to win. So they come out hard. They come out strong.
String defense, they ain't giving it up, man. Like Wentz is coming out, Pittman's coming out, Jonathan Taylor better come out at that point. Like, you kidding me? Like, these guys got to get ready for next week. So, like, you got to be careful with those at times. Like, you could just see, like, Trevor Lawrence still going at it. He's down 21 in the fourth quarter, bringing his team down the field. Boom, throws a meaningless touchdown.
I don't think so. I watched them against New England. They look pathetic. And the Colts defense is legit, and they're getting everybody back for this game, and they're going to tee up. They need to win, Jules. Like the Chargers, they have to lose, or Baltimore Pitt has to tie, or the Chargers lost, plus a Pittsburgh loss, plus a Miami win. So they want to go in there and handle their business. I think a good bet is to bet the Colts the first half of the game. I think they just blow them out immediately. That might be the bet. That might be the bet.
You figure that line is probably
it's like
yeah, I mean, I see the Colts up by like 17 at halftime. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. Like, if you're actually betting, that is probably a fantastic bet. First half, Colts all day. They just come out, they open it up right away, and they just fucking take the lead. I do like that. Oh, man. I'm telling you right now, I will even kind of fade that 15.5, but like, yo, man, I'm just saying, buyer beware of a late fourth quarter touchdown that brings that game down, and all of a sudden they only win by 14, which is still a big win.
You're crazy.
Hey, just say it. All right.
I would never bet on the Jaguars.
New England did this past weekend. They're just not. Just say it. Beware on that.
All right, we'll get back to. I would never bet on the fucking Jaguars. They could be minus fucking 30, and I'll probably still take the Colts. All right, next game. Oh, the Rams. Rams are at home. They're -4 against the 49ers. Dude, I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of Trey Lance. You see what he did the other day? 2 touchdowns. But he let the shoes off the second half. He looked good. He was running. I'm telling you, I love 49ers all day.
I mean, look, I guess technically the 49ers still have to win to stay in because they haven't clinched. So I guess if the Saints win and the 49ers lose, the Saints jump them and make the playoffs.
Right.
So with that said, and with the fact that, like, we were saying all day that the Rams basically, I mean, the only thing the Rams still kind of have to play for is if they really want that number 2 seed, which means that the only way they technically have a shot at home field advantage if somehow Green Bay gets upset, because if not, it's going to go to Tampa.
I don't think so.
It's tough. It's tough. I think the 49ers have more to lose, and you're getting 4 points, so I will go with the 49ers.
Yeah, there we go. I love the 49ers, man. Love them this week. All right, next game. Our Patriots are away. They're in Miami, which they never really played great in Miami. Patriots are -7.
Yeah, but here's the fucked up thing, right? It's a 4:25 kickoff, and you know what other games are 4:25 kickoff? The Bills and the Jets.
Oh, okay.
So they literally set it up the way most of these games should be set up, but they literally set it up where both teams with a win, the Bills win the division. Both teams with a loss, the Bills win the division. However, a Bills loss to the Jets and a fucking New England win gives New England the division. And now they look at them as division winners.
Okay.
So they got a lot to play for. And I understand the Dolphins were, they went on a great run and they only lost 7-1-7, set an NFL record, blah, blah, blah. They got woke up last week. All right. They were woke. That's it. And in that case, Patriots are fucking back. They fucking destroyed Jacksonville. You know what? They're going to go back down to Florida. They're going to go take care of business, and they're going to win by 17. All right. I like the Patriots all day.
Yeah, I agree. Remember last week I said Miami, after winning 7 in a row to no names, they would lose the next 2. And by the way, I bet heavy on Tennessee too, beating Miami this past night. Sunday was a good day for me.
Yeah, apparently. You just blocked out the Giants and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to look at football.
If you listen to me, like, I made some fucking money. I like it. So, like, yeah, I'm going with the Patriots too. But, Jules, I just want to, like, backtrack real quick.
Yeah.
We kind of actually forgot to mention the Chiefs, Broncos, and Dallas and Eagles, they're on Saturday.
Oh.
Right?
Why were they not? So what threw us off there is that, oh, wow.
All now right, we'll know. Now we'll know going into Sunday morning.
My picks. Wait a minute, that's Saturday. So why was it not? Usually they do it in order when we go through these picks.
It is in order because if the first game is Chiefs Broncos at 4:30, Dallas, it's because it's on Saturday. I forgot they put the games on Saturday, which is they should have just been all on Sunday, but whatever. So yeah, it kind of changes things, and we can't literally change once the picks are set.
Change the Titans now, because in my opinion, if the Chiefs got to go out and win. So we're sticking with the Chiefs. They're the first to open. They know that the only way that they're going to get that bye is to win. So the Chiefs are definitely a pick, right?
Yeah, Chiefs is definitely
like the Eagles. And then that goes back to now with the Titans, where regardless, I guess the only thing that would happen there is on Saturday if the Chiefs lose, the Titans can kind of sit back. Because not only that, I think they still got to be nervous about the Bengals, right? I think the Bengals can still technically jump them. I know the Titans have a tiebreaker versus the Bills. So even if they did both lose Kansas City and Tennessee, the Bills can't jump them because they beat Tennessee but lost to Kansas City, beat Kansas City rather than lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
So that side is sort of kind of jumping around. But no, I think just with what you said, not realizing that the game was on Saturday, we do apologize. That changes my pick. I'm all in on Tennessee.
You're on time. I'm still in on the Texans, to be honest with you, because they play hard, and it's a division game.
No way.
All right. I think we disagree on something else later on, and we'll go back to that. Otherwise, we'll just have to flip a coin.
Well, all right. Well, that's my pick. Well, all right. I'll give you that one. That's fine. That's fine. Because you convinced me to take the Colts there, but that's fair.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
All right.
think,
Since I convinced you to take the Colts, we'll change that pick.
fair.
We'll change that pick to the
First of all, you're
Tennessee
not
Titans.
convincing me that the Chiefs are going to lose 2 games in a row. All
Yeah.
right. Maybe they
not
don't Saturday possibility, but I think they're going to come out and they're going to roll. They're going to show that they were the hottest team in the AFC. And with that said, it's going to put pressure on Tennessee. Honestly, Houston has nothing to play for with, except for the fact that they win. I'm pretty sure the Jets jump them and they do lose a draft pick. So, like, there is that kind of consideration there. I know it doesn't matter, and I know, they all play to win.
They all play to win.
So that's just something to keep in mind.
That's
so,
true.
all right, officially, the BBOMYG, and after all that confusion and all that talk, is going Kansas City and the Titans. That's the change there. And then we get to the Bucks and the Panthers, and I'll make this quick. I say Bucks -8. I know they've been in a rut, but they got to get right before the playoffs. They should definitely handle the fucking Panthers at home. All right, come on.
Yeah, so Tampa Bay it is, right?
Yes.
All right. That was pretty quick. All right, the next game, Saints. This is a weird one. Saints are away. They're in the Atlanta Falcons, which I fucking hate. Saints are -4.5.
And here we go with that same dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, wait. I take that. Well, no, because the Eagles would have played on Saturday. So if the Eagles win, this game means nothing to either of these teams, right? It would just be a divisional game, and that's all they're playing for. If the Eagles lose, then this is everything for the Saints. So it kind of sucks that we have to make these picks on a Tuesday night, because literally I would rather wait till Saturday night to then pick this on Sunday morning. But then again, this thing locks on Saturday, so you have to make your pick before Saturday anyway. With that said, I'm just going to go with the Saints. I think the Saints will they'll win that game regardless. I think they would want to finish. Let me see one last thing really quickly. If they do, regardless, not have a shot at the playoffs, you're literally talking about a difference of having a losing season or a winning season. And I think Sean Payton is that type of coach where he would want a coach to at least finish the season 9-8 and have a winning record. And that's the reason why I think that the Saints are in a little bit different predicament than what that whole Kansas City, Tennessee scenario was about earlier.
I will never take the fucking Falcons. So, yeah, Saints it is. All right, next game, Cardinals, they're at home. They're -6.5. They played a great game against Dallas. They're going against the Seahawks, which Seahawks have no defense. They let Detroit score like fucking 80 points on them, even though Seahawks won. Cardinals all day. Am I right?
Absolutely, because not only that, we got the Cowboys losing to the Eagles, or at least having a tight game. Rams could lose. Cardinals can literally jump up. They can't win, but they could jump into the top 4. So yeah, they got a lot. They got more to play for. They're going to get some home games. So yeah, I would think they would want to win that game against Seattle.
No doubt. All right, next game, Buffalo. They're at home. They're -17 against the Jets. Yo, Jets showed me something. I'm taking the Jets with the points. That's a crazy amount of spread. 17 points?
Yeah, but it's in Buffalo. I think the Jets shot their load against Tampa. Like you said, the Buccaneers defense, all the excuses you made. The Buccaneers defense wasn't good. They had no pass rush. The Bills defense is firing. They're healthy as fuck right now, all right? Like, they've been playing with this team for the last few weeks. I know they had some injuries earlier on in the season. Yeah, no, I hate the 17, of course, kind of similar to the way I was feeling about Jacksonville earlier. But yeah, no, do not buy into the Jets. Shit is a mirage. The Bills will win. They're going to cover. They're going to win the division for the 2nd year in a row. But we will go with the Jets. That's your pick if you want it.
Yeah, I'll take them. I'll take the Jets. I like them. This week. All right. The last game. Woo! Sunday night game.
Can we pick tie?
Yeah, can we pick the tie? Chargers, they're away. They're -3 against the Raiders. Dude, the Raiders have been playing fucking tough. And our coach is from Yonkers, so I'm going with the Raiders, man.
Wow. Dude, I can't. I think that it's Justin Herbert's year. He got right towards the end. Eckler's healthy, and when that offense has got Eckler in the backfield, even though they did very well with the filling 2 weeks ago, they're ready. Allen's healthy. Like, bro, they are supposed to go into Vegas and beat their divisional opponent to go to the playoffs. They're not supposed to drop this game. If they're a freaking serious team and they're that kind of team, this is the game they're supposed to go win. There's a reason they're -3 to go into Vegas. It's going to be on Sunday, right? A Sunday night's game. Everybody's going to be watching. Like, dude, unless it finishes in a tie, I think the Chargers win, man. I don't know. That's my pick.
All right, so we got to go with the Chargers as a game of the Jets. All right, so we had the Moneyball pick. We took the Washington football team, obviously, because our season is a disaster. So now we got to pick 3, Jules. Do we agree on the Chiefs? I think we do, right?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs roll. I mean, look, I understand the Broncos might like that's another one where you might want to flirt with the line in the first half, but that's really it. Other than that, I think the Chiefs, even if they're still like shell shocked from losing and it's a Saturday and it's in Mile High, I think they're rolling by the third quarter.
I'm taking the Colts as my pick. You got to decide what you want to go.
Oh, all right. I will go Bengals.
All right, Bengals.
I like what I see, what I'm seeing out of them, man. Like, Jamar Chase going off, like, fuck him, that piece of shit. Because I didn't have him on any of my fantasy teams, but damn, did he kill me. He killed me in 2 leagues in third place matches. Just so you know, right?
Man.
But, all right, man. Listen,
Jules, we got to check out. Tell them to check out the website. We put the website on. I put it on my Twitter. Jules, do that tonight. Put that up there. I did it on the.
Put like extra characters on your profile before it's too long.
It's a lot of letters, but all you got to do is just click on the link. All right, click on the fucking link. I put it on there. I put it on our Instagram. I put it on the BBO podcast on Twitter. All you got to do is click on the link. I put up some like old school, like our first podcast, like I did with like Nick and Malarzik, a couple of friends of the podcast. I did a couple of old school comedy bits we did. So take a look at the website and have some fun, man. Enjoy the laughs because we had fun doing it. So
there you go. So check it out. You could definitely find that on Twitter at the BBOMYG, right? I got that at that link. You'll find it at Jules NYC1. Sure enough, I just keep forgetting to put it on there. Forgot that we put it up and it's ready to roll now. It's operational. All right. And obviously, you'll find that at Mike Trainer MFT. You'll definitely see it there. And of course, at the BBOMYG. You know what? Send the emails. For those of you listening, that's in the pick'em pool. All right. Make sure you put a review down. All right. If you want to win that cash prize, you want to win it. If not, it's going to go to somebody else. And it's a tight race after you go through that top 3. So, don't let the Big Blue Offensive Podcast win their own pick'em pool. All right. Like, we'll be bragging. Like next week, that'll be what the whole episode's dedicated to. All right. So
it'll be us.
Keep that in mind. All right. So get out there if you haven't done it yet. And anybody that's listening, you know what? We still like to hear from you. Drop a like, subscribe, put a good review in. We love that kind of stuff. And if you have some, good feedback, give it to us. If you want some things that we don't talk about, things we miss, you want to debate us, we're always open to it. Hey, let's face it. Regular season's coming to an end. There's only a few weeks of playoffs. Before you know it, it'll be that first week in February, and the Super Bowl will be here. And then literally it'll be us talking about getting ready for the draft and getting ready for the 2022 season. It literally comes that fast. It has the last 2 years, and that's what happens, And literally between now and then, we always bring on guests on the show, guests from other parts of the world, others from other parts of the country. So you know what? If you're that advocate of a fan and you're putting it out there, we might invite you on. You know what? I know that's going to be out there for the pick'em pools and for whoever ends up winning it. So that says what's up to come. We're kicking off the 2022 season. All right, the 2022 year, I should say. All right. And with that said, that's it for us this week. We're going to wrap it up. It's another episode of the Big Blue Offensive Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.